AI minds, quantum leaps. Cut the noise, dive deep. Truth unlocked. Dr. Mike on the mic. Tech Unfiltered is on the clock. Now it's time for the show.
Europe just hired 38 people, and that may be the most important artificial intelligence story of the day. It sounds like a small staffing announcement, but those 38 people could determine whether Europe's AI rules remain words on paper or begin showing up on the screens people use every day. This is Tech Unfiltered. I'm Dr. Mike. Today, we're looking at the moment the European Union moved from writing AI rules to building the team that will enforce them. The Associated Press reports that the European Union is expanding its Brussels-based AI office with 38 additional staff. Their job is to monitor artificial intelligence companies, including major American and Chinese model providers, as well as smaller firms. The European Commission can request documentation, interview company personnel during investigations, and receive confidential reports through whistleblower and compliance tools. In practical terms, an employee or user who sees potentially illegal conduct now has a formal channel for reporting it. The timing matters. On August 2nd, 2026, major transparency duties in Article 50 of the European AI Act begin applying. The internet-friendly version of this story is that Europe is putting a visible watermark on everything created by AI. That is not accurate. The law creates different responsibilities for providers and deployers, and the distinction matters. A provider builds and offers the system. Think of the provider as the manufacturer of a car. A deployer takes the system or its output and puts it to use. Think of the deployer as the driver. Providers of interactive AI systems must design them to tell people when they are interacting with a machine, unless that is already obvious from the context. A chatbot should not quietly pretend to be a human. Providers of generative systems must also add machine-readable markings to generated or manipulated output. Those markings are not necessarily a visible badge. They are technical signals intended for platforms, detection tools, and investigators. The Commission says those signals should be effective, interoperable, robust, and reliable when technically feasible. That qualification is important. Watermarks and metadata can be damaged or removed when material is edited, copied, screenshotted, compressed, or reposted. Deployers have additional human-facing duties in specific situations. If an organization exposes people to a deepfake, it generally must disclose that the material was artificially generated or manipulated. Similar disclosure duties apply to covered AI-generated text published to inform the public about matters of public interest. There are exceptions, including circumstances involving genuine human review, editorial responsibility, or certain law enforcement uses. Emotion recognition and biometric categorization systems also carry disclosure requirements. So the honest summary is clear disclosure in important cases. It is not a permanent visible label on every piece of content an AI system ever touches. The Commission published final transparency guidance on July 20th. It also released a code of practice on marking and labeling AI-generated content. The code of practice is voluntary. It offers companies a practical way to demonstrate how they are complying. The underlying legal duties are not voluntary. The code is a suggested route. Article 50 is the obligation. Now we get to enforcement. The European system has two levels. National authorities oversee many AI systems within their jurisdictions. The European AI Office directly governs and enforces obligations for providers of general-purpose AI models and certain other systems within its authority. The European AI Board helps coordinate enforcement across member states. A scientific panel and an advisory forum provide additional expertise. The new staff will not be limited to checking labels on images. The Commission identifies systemic risk categories that include cyber offense, harmful manipulation, loss of control, threats to fundamental rights, and chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear incidents. That does not mean regulators have proven that a particular chatbot will cause each of those harms. It means the most capable general-purpose models may be required to evaluate and reduce those categories of risk. The financial penalties can be substantial. According to the Commission's current guidance, violations involving prohibited practices or certain data requirements can reach 35 million euros, or 7% of worldwide annual turnover, depending on the company and the violation. Other forms of non-compliance can reach 15 million euros or 3%. General purpose model providers can also face penalties of up to 15 million euros or 3% for failing to meet obligations or comply with required measures. No company was fined as part of today's announcement. This is an expansion of enforcement capacity, not a report of a completed prosecution. There is also an important timeline detail. The AI Act entered into force in 2024 and has been phasing in. August 2nd is a major application date for transparency rules. It is not the beginning of the entire law. At the same time, Europe recently adopted an AI omnibus that delayed parts of the high-risk compliance schedule. Many high-risk systems listed in Annex 3 now face their main rules beginning in December of 2027. AI embedded in regulated products, including machinery, toys, lifts, and medical devices, moves to August of 2028. Europe is therefore tightening some consumer-facing transparency rules now, while giving businesses more time to meet portions of the high-risk framework. It is also investing in European AI infrastructure. Regulation, simplification, and industrial competition are happening at the same time. What does this mean for an ordinary person? First, people in Europe should begin seeing clearer notices when they are interacting with AI, along with disclosures on covered synthetic media and public interest content. Some signals will be visible. Others will operate in the background for platforms and investigators. Second, a label is not a truth detector. Authentic footage can be paired with a false description. A synthetic image can lose its metadata. A bad actor may simply ignore the rules. These requirements can create accountability and an evidence trail. They cannot make deception disappear. Third, Europe's rules may influence products outside Europe. This is an inference, not a reported guarantee. A global platform may find it easier to use one disclosure system across several markets. But companies can also create separate European versions, so we should watch what they actually ship. Fourth, anyone publishing or selling AI-generated material should understand whether they are acting as a provider, a deployer, or both. A consumer privately asking a chatbot a question is not in the same position as a media organization publishing generated text about an election or a public health emergency. What should we watch next? Look for interface changes from major chatbot, image, audio, and video providers around August 2nd. Watch whether machine-readable markings survive ordinary editing and reposting. Watch whether the new reporting tools produce public investigations, and watch whether enforcement focuses on meaningful deception instead of becoming trapped in technical arguments about definitions. The central shift is simple. The debate is no longer only whether AI should be disclosed. The question is who must disclose what in which situations and whether regulators can verify compliance. Europe has now hired more people to answer that question. For the rest of us, the practical advice remains familiar. Treat labels as useful context, not proof. Check the source of consequential claims, and be especially careful with content designed to make you react before you have time to verify it. That's Tech Unfiltered. I'm Dr. Mike. I'll see you in the next one.